Welcome to the Sunbird Sports Show with Paul Meadors. Brought to you by Fresno Pacific University on 790 ESPN.
Welcome to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. Thank you guys for listening tonight. I am your host, Paul Meadors, live here at the ESPN Fresno studio on Palm Avenue across from Bullard High School. Like I do every Wednesday, we're going to have a full hour of Fresno Pacific University sports talk. The Sunbird Sports Show, if you guys have not heard, has also been turned into a podcast. You can download wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, YouTube, Spotify. Really excited about that option that we have for you guys. You can go and listen to any of the past shows. We started in September, and we're going to keep on going until the end of the school year. Next week, I want to remind everybody, it's going to be a very, very special event on April 9th. It's going to be a big one. We're broadcasting from the campus of Fresno Pacific University. And the reason why is because there's going to be a huge, enormous ceremony dedicating Dan Martin Stadium to the baseball program and to Fresno Pacific University. There's going to be tours of the clubhouse. The ribbon cutting is going to happen at 4:30. Special guests are going to be there. There's going to be live batting practice. I might put in my request to try to take a few hacks at the brand new stadium with all the great upgrades. You guys can go on the field as well. You'll be protected. Don't worry. You can meet the team, meet and talk to Oscar Hirschkorn, the head coach, the one and only head coach at Fresno Pacific University. Also, hot rumors going around that University President Andre Stevens is also going to come on the show. Athletic Director Kyle Ferguson. There's going to be refreshments, a taco truck. Lots of media is going to be there. Giveaways, merch for sale. There's also going to be an opportunity to sponsor a seat as well. So I am really excited about that. I'm going to be there live on location. We're going to be talking with lots of great people. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. Not only can you listen to it, but you can be there as well, celebrating with everybody. All right, so what's going on today? Today, we got the women's soccer program. We got some members of the team at Fresno Pacific University. We have Coach Roberto Hernandez, who has been on the show now. This will be his third time. Excited to talk to him. He's doing a fantastic job there at Fresno Pacific. Katelyn Gonzalez is also going to join us. Gizelle Aguirre, Celene Corona, and Madisyn Anderson as well. All right, so this is the time where we do a Fresno Pacific University athletics recap. Lots of action going on during this springtime. In this past week, the men's tennis hosted the only FPU athletics event at home. They faced UC Santa Cruz, the Banana Slugs, one of the great mascots in all of college, and they beat them by a score of 5-2, winning all doubles sets comfortably. Gregor Klimask got the first singles victory without dropping game, winning 6-0, 6-0. Former guest Ravi Nelson and Ben Cronow got straight set wins as well. Across town, FPU track and field continued their amazing season, posting tons of new school records. It seems like they're breaking records every week, including national leading times. Former guest Shamar Palmer tied the 50-year-old school record for the 100-meter time with a time of 10.35. That's absolutely blazing, placing 9th in the country. He also won the 200-meter race. Bull Olson nearly PR'd in the 800 to place top 20 in the nation. In the field events, Chavez Gray recorded a 53.62-meter hammer throw, placing 4th all-time in the school record books. He also threw a personal best in the discus to put him 3rd all-time in that category. These efforts got him the PacWest Field Athlete of the Week. On the women's side, the 4x100 team of Brianna Green, Nydia Chance, Shania Randolph, and Ciara Copeland ran a 45.35, winning the event and placing 7th all-time. Freshman Maddie Whipple became 2nd all-time in the 1,500-meter race, running a 4-minute, 30-second race. In the 400, 5 out of the first 6 spots were Sunbird women. Green ran a career best of 53.77, placing her 2nd in the nation in that category. She earned PacWest Track Athlete of the Week. Congratulations to Brianna and Chavez on their weekly conference honors. The first round of the national rankings came out this week for NCAA Division II, and the FPU women's team came in at number 4 in the nation. The men's teams are right behind at number 5. Women's water polo traveled to Stockton to face Division I opponent, University of the Pacific. Despite a slow start, it was a tight contest in the later stages of the game, but the Birds fell 13-5. Former guest and standout of the team, Tatum Benson, netted 3 goals, and Sierra Coyne tallied the other 2. In baseball news, they went down to San Diego for a huge series against number 11 Point Loma and split the series 2 games apiece. They dropped a nail-biter in Game 1, falling 12-11 in extra innings, despite a really solid performance at the plate. They bounced back in Game 2, winning 6-4. The Birds won Game 3 in 7-5 dramatic fashion. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Darryl Dilworth Jr. made a leaping catch over the right field fence to rob a game-tying 2-run homer and secure the win for Fresno Pacific University. Roman Rosales hit a grand slam in the first inning as well. The team dropped the last game of the series 10-3, but third baseman Aaron Martinez Jr. went 11 for 18 over the 4 games, hitting .611. He drove in 5 runs, including 1 homer, and scored 5 times, earning him the Pac West Player of the Week honors. And also, Aaron is the first non-pitcher to win Player of the Week this season for the Birds. All right, there's the Sunbird wrap-up at the end of the show. As always, we got Pablo telling you about all the cool events that are coming up at Fresno Pacific University. And he's also going to have some questions for the women's soccer team. All right, we're going to take a break here, and we're going to bring back Gizelle Aguirre and Maddie Anderson, and, of course, Coach Roberto Hernandez. You're listening to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. All right, welcome back to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. If you guys heard my opener, you know that next week's going to be a very, very special event at Dan Martin Stadium on the campus of Fresno Pacific University. We're going to do our show from there and dedicating the Dan Martin Stadium, which looks absolutely gorgeous. I know we're about a third of the way, maybe a little more than a third of the way through the baseball season, but hey, it was well worth the wait. I had a lot of stories from Oscar Hirschhorn that I heard of having to change in their baseball uniforms in the parking lot and not having a press box, right, for guys like me that like to take in the baseball game. So really excited about next week. Hope you guys are able to check that out on the campus. If not, obviously, listen to the show and hear all about it. All right, we got the women's soccer program here in the house. Roberto Hernandez, the coach. We got Gizelle Aguirre, who you guys may remember was a standout athlete at Carruthers High. Played a bunch of sports there. Just talked about her time playing softball there. And we got Maddie Anderson as well. We're going to be kind of rotating around. We got one microphone to share, so we're going to try our best to make sure that you hear all the girls' stories and, of course, all the great stuff that's happening with the women's soccer program. So, Coach, we're going to start with you. So we had Coach Shiroki on the show a few weeks ago, and you guys came in at the same time. You guys are doing a fantastic job, but no longer, right, is the associate head coach now. Your title's been elevated to boom, just pure head coach. How cool of a moment was that to hear about that?
Yeah, it's a pretty surreal moment. I mean, it's something that we've been working hard towards our entire career. So to be able to be the head coach is something that super grateful for, that the institution is giving us the opportunity to be able to lead this program fully and giving us the trust. And then super grateful to the director of soccer to be able to help us out along the way and mentor us and be able to give us the trust to lead the program. So super excited about it.
How did you hear about it? Did Kyle Ferguson, the athletic director, call you in? Did Jaime or what? How did that all go down?
Yeah, so we met with Kyle Ferguson, and then we also met with the VP of Student Development, Jake, and so we kind of had a couple discussions with Cam, myself, and Jaime, and just kind of discussing the new roles and responsibilities that we're going to be going through. And then, yeah, a couple weeks later, they made it all official, so it was pretty cool.
Did you celebrate that night? I mean, who was the first person that you called? How did that go?
I think when it happened, I called my parents right away. Told them everything that had happened, and then obviously called a lot of mentors of mine and gave them the good news. So, yeah.
Awesome. You are locked in. All right. So I didn't know about spring soccer. I first heard about it when Cam came on the show. I didn't know it was a thing, but I think he said 5 games. I think he was able to play. Is that the same for you guys?
Yeah, so you're allowed 5 play dates. So on those dates, you can schedule double headers or just single, depending on your roster. So the men's team has a little bit of a larger roster for the spring, so they scheduled a couple double headers, including this weekend. And then for us, we went a lot of single headers. We had a double header scheduled, but unfortunately one school had to pull out. But it's been good. It's a lot of time of development and getting the structure right.
So you ended up playing 4 games?
So as of right now, we've played 3. We have one on Saturday against Clovis Community, which is always a fun one. Our director of soccer, son Orlando, is leading that program, so it's a good one. And we have a lot of players that have come from Clovis Community as well.
So how many girls are able to play in these spring games? What's your roster?
Yeah, so we have a full roster right now, about 19 in the spring. We had 6 graduate, but everyone's eligible to play as long as obviously academically they're in good standing. So we do our best to rotate everybody, and through the 3 games, every single player in our spring roster has been able to get some minutes.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to hear from the girls in just a second, but wanted to hear from Coach Hernandez. All right, so you're locked in. You got the roster. You got these spring games. Year 1 is in the past. Just talk about long term, right? I know there's a lot of excitement on campus, a lot of excitement with you, athletic program, moving forward with the women's soccer program. So what is like your long-term goal for the program?
Yeah, it's to compete for championships, not only in the Pac West, but national championships. I think as athletes, as competitors, if that's not the goal, then what are we doing, right? Of course, along the way, there's short-term goals and getting better. I think we've did a lot better this year, but the goal next year is to win a lot more games and score a lot more goals. We did well defensively, but now we're looking to score more goals, and that's including the recruiting trail. But ultimately, we want to bring the Pac West titles back home, and then if we can compete for national titles, phenomenal. Awesome.
All right, good stuff there. All right, so Coach, we want to hear from a couple of these girls here. Maddie, let's ask you about, like, when does school end? Because obviously Fresno Pacific gets out a lot earlier. I was always I'm a graduate of the school, so I was like getting out early, but I'm always a little jealous, man. You're already out of school. But so how much longer of school do you guys have?
I think we have about maybe another 3 weeks, hopefully. I just feel like it's been forever. I mean, I don't know. I've been really locked in, though, with school and soccer, though. But I think in about, like, May 9th, I believe, is when we end. Yeah.
So how did those spring games, you played 3, you have 1 to go against Clovis Community. How have those spring games been for you? Is it, just good to get back on the field, get some action? What have those games been like for you?
I mean, it's been great since we just we stopped in our actual season, and just playing back up is like the best feeling ever. And I was like, me going to my senior year, I'm taking all these games for what it is and like not taking it lightly. So it's been great to get back on the field and play.
Absolutely. All right, Gizelle, we're going to ask you some of the same types of questions. And I have to say, you were on my high school show last year. That was a cool deal when you started Carruthers High, won yourself a state championship. You know what? I want to ask you this. I didn't prep you for this question. No, it's a good one. Okay. Where's your championship ring? Like you have your state championship ring, right?
Yeah.
You got one.
Yeah.
Where is it right now, and what's it look like?
It's really big, I would say that. Like, we chose, like, the biggest ring ever. But it's just in my drawer right now. I have it closed so it doesn't get all rusted. But I wore it at the last state championship game, but that was it.
Well, really it's probably
out.
Well, probably wears. I mean, it's probably.
It's really heavy, so I'm not gonna wear that out.
Did you show that thing off when you guys got it? Like, were you guys just kind of strutting around with those things?
Yeah, I was like one of the only seniors, so at the state game, like everyone was like, "Oh, like let me see the ring." So I was just showing everyone.
And it's got some blue in it.
Yeah, but blue? It's like mainly black, and then we have some blue around it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Were you able to follow the girls basketball team this year when they won D2?
Yeah, I was there at the game.
You were there at the game?
Yeah, in the stands.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, so Fresno Pacific, you just completed I guess your freshman season on the pitch, spring stuff, right? Like, what were you looking to get better at during the spring, and how do you think you did?
I think so far we're doing pretty good, like, as a team. For me, I'm just trying to work on playing quicker, like my stamina, but I think we're doing really good. Trying out new things since it's spring. Like, everyone's getting playing time, just trying to figure out new things and how to prepare for the fall.
Help me out here. I should know this question. What is the difference in time between a high school game and college game? Is it 45s? High school?
College is 45-minute halves. So, yeah, it kind of depends on each high school because I know certain regions play 40-minute halves in high school. But, yeah, college we play 2 45-minute halves.
Do you remember, Gizelle, in high school? You talk about stamina. That's why I was thinking about that.
Yeah, because Carruthers, like, in high school, like, it's completely different. Like, the speed is way different. When I come to college, it's way faster game. So you just have to work on that.
All right. So I'm curious when exactly you found out it was a faster game. Like, was it at one of the first practices, maybe during drills, or you got inserted into a game? Like, was there a certain moment where you're like, oh, my gosh, I got to really play a little bit quicker than my mind is right now?
It was probably the very first practice. Like, we did some conditioning, and then we got into scrimmaging, and that's when it, like, hit me, like, oh, it's, like, way faster than high school. So, yeah.
Like, the moves that you could do in high school, you can't do in college. You can't get away with that.
No, like, you can't, like, I mean, yeah, you could cut it, but, like, the girls, like, you're going to have to do, like, scissors, step overs, like, things like that. Yeah.
All right, Maddie. So your senior year is coming up.
Yes.
Like, what are some, like, of your favorite moments? I know you've had some coaching changes, and I know this year was a much improved year from years before. And I know you went to other schools, but like, what's been a really special moment for you in regards to soccer?
Just growing in general with whatever team I'm playing on. I came from a JUCO Delta, but just growing with the team and growing my personality on and off the field, my skills, whatever it may be, just like that important fact of just growing and like furthering my athletic career in soccer.
How about academic career? Like, what are you on pace to graduate with, and what are some future plans?
Yeah, so I have my BA in Kines, and then I also am minoring right now in psychology. So I do want to stay in the sport section. As always, I've been playing this sport for 19 years. So I to think of like staying away from it is just like it's wrong. But I just want to stay in the like athletic department.
And coaching? You want to get into coaching afterwards, or is that maybe something you'll do later?
Maybe. I know it's a hard job seeing like my coaches of the past years doing what they can and like all that responsibility on you. It does seem as like a fun thing, but I'm not quite sure about coaching. Yeah.
All right. Gizelle, what about for you? Like, what are some of your favorite classes? I know you're still a freshman, right? But what are some really cool classes, or what do you want to major in?
So my major right now is pre-health, and I want to become a nurse in the future. So right now I'm taking anatomy, and I'm actually like really enjoying that, just learning about the body right now. But yeah.
Well, maybe you could get the same major that Maddie has, right? Yeah. There you go. All right, Coach, I want to ask you individually about these two girls. Obviously, your first year at Fresno Pacific. How did you recruit the girls? What did that look like, and what did they bring to the field this year?
Yeah, so when I came in July, obviously it's a little bit late in the game, right? So I tried to hit the ground running. So Gizelle was actually already recruited by the previous, staff. Really happy that she was on, a part of the program, especially with the nickname like Monster High School. She's living up to it. Maddie was actually one of the first ones that I reached out to. Coming in July, we tried to do our best to bring in. I think we brought in 4 or 5 in that summer. So Maddie was one of the first recruiting classes that I brought in, but they each offer something different, right? Gizelle, I really love that her family shows up to the game. That local support is phenomenal. I think she fills up half the crowd when we play. But not only that, on the field she's been phenomenal. I think we didn't score as many goals as we had hoped, but she had 3 goals as a freshman, which was really good, and she logged some of the most minutes as a freshman as well. So definitely made an impact on the field. Maddie, it was interesting, right? At the start of the season, wasn't a starter. About halfway through when we started, I would say when we started conference against Concordia, she got her first start and never looked back since. In fact, we've now shifted to a 2 holding mid system to make sure that she's on the field, and the work rate defensively is second to none to be able to win the ball back. Just this past weekend against Fresno City, if it wasn't for her, we would have gotten counted a couple times, and she was able to win the ball back. So they're both, hard workers, and I think that's something that we put a lot of emphasis in, especially being from Fresno, blue-collar town, is we want to be a team that's gritty, and I think when we go against a lot of the Pac-West opponents, they get frustrated with that. We're clean, but we're definitely a hard-hitting team, and it's something that these two embody, so it's really nice.
All right, Maddie. So I want to ask you, is there a game that you're really looking forward to next year?
Honestly, all of them. I want backs. I want wins. I want every opponent that we tied against. I want them back on the field, and I want us beating them. Every game. I'm waiting on every game.
What school has a good adventure story that you guys traveled and had a good time? I know the Vans, right? Usually time for bonding and listen to music together and eat some food and talk and share stories. Is there some specific moment this last year that really pops in your mind?
I'd say going to Hawaii, but getting there was probably the hardest part because we woke up at 2 a.m. Some of us pulled all-nighters. We got on the bus, traveled 5 hours out to San Jose, I believe. San Jose, I believe, and then the flight there. But the travel was the funniest part because we were just so tired and wanting just to get there already, and then we got there, and it was the best thing ever.
Were you guys grumpy in the morning?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Grumpy, just, I want to sleep, leave me alone, please. But it was, once we got there, landed, it was amazing, beautiful.
Were you guys able to explore a little bit?
Yeah.
Check out some stuff. What were some cool things?
Yeah, we went towards the strip and the beach itself, and then we also went on a hike. And as beautiful the hike was, it did pour on us when we hit the peak of the hike, and then we had to come back down in it. But it was still, it's Hawaii. You gotta love it.
You gotta love it,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, you gotta love it. All right, Gizelle, what about for you? You got a special bonding moment, something that pops?
No, I have to agree with her. The hike was definitely the best. We were going good, but it was muddy, and then all of a sudden when we reached the waterfall, a few minutes, it just started downpouring. We were taking a picture, couldn't even see, wiping our faces, but that was the best memory, I think, for all of us.
So when you decided to go to Fresno Pacific University, is that one of the selling points, going to Hawaii? Did the previous coach say, hey, we got a Hawaii trip, come to Fresno Pacific?
No, I actually didn't know we were going to Hawaii.
Bonus. All right. I'm always curious about how you guys arrived at Fresno Pacific. You guys know it's a special place. The academics, the community, the class, the professors are very personal as well. Gizelle, I know you had some options, like I mentioned, maybe playing some softball, Fresno City. I know you're, a four-sport athlete at Carruthers, huh?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So how did you finally settle on Fresno Pacific, and what drew you to the school?
Okay, so it was after our Valley game for soccer. He reached out to me, and that's when I was in the tournament for state at basketball, and he reached out to me and wanted me to visit. So I went and talked to him for 3 hours. He loves to talk. So I talked to him, and he showed me around the campus. I just really enjoyed how small it was, the campus, the community. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone's so nice. So, and it's close to home, which was a big plus for me.
Is it true? Your family fills up most of the stands?
Yes, they all come. My mom, sisters, grandparents, friends. Everyone shows up. And they always call me Monster. I'm I'm not Monster
Not anymore. You're in college now. Do they bring signs and stuff too? Or any noisemakers? Or are they just making
they
making
just make
sound?
their own noise just from their mouths. They don't
and
bring nothing else.
They're there all the time.
Yeah, I could point out where they are, and they're very loud.
That's awesome. All right, Maddie, for you, you mentioned you went to Delta College before Fresno Pacific. After high school, what's been your journey finally ending up at Fresno Pacific?
It's been a long journey, I'll say that, especially coming from just high school when I was basically bouncing around from Sacramento to Stockton to ending up here in Fresno. But I'm thankful for this journey, and I'm glad I am here. I have no complaints. I had offers to go out of state, but I knew staying home would be the best option. And did I know I was going to end up in Fresno? No, I didn't. But I've been happy since I got here, and I love this school.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, we got another minute here. I always like to ask, whatever sport we're talking about, who your favorite player in that sport is of all time. All right, Maddie, looks like you're up
All
first. Make your
time,
case.
of course, Cristiano Ronaldo. But I also have to shout out my women's side, and I have such a love for Sydney Leroux. So, yeah.
All right, Gizelle, what about for you?
Mine is probably Carly Lloyd, even though she's retired. I loved how she played up top.
Coach, I've asked you this question before, Coach. All right, so maybe at the very end, maybe we'll save some time to discuss that, see if the girls agree with you or want to have an argument with you about who the greatest of all time is. All right, we're going to take a break here. Thank you, girls, for coming on. At the very end, we'll bring you back on. We got some questions from Pablo, as always, from the student body at Fresno Pacific University. We'll take a break here, and we'll come back with a couple more girls from the women's soccer team. You're listening to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN.
Now, welcome back to the Sunbird Sports Show with Paul Meadors on 790 ESPN.
All right, welcome to the Sunbird Sports Show. This is a full hour of Fresno Pacific University sports every Wednesday from 6 to 7.
Now, welcome back to the Sunbird Sports Show with
live at the ESPN studio on Palm Avenue across from Bullard High School. I want to remind everybody, if you miss any part of the show or other shows, you can listen to the Sunbird Sports Show now as a podcast. Just search it on Spotify, on Apple. It's even up on YouTube. So super excited about archiving all the old shows and you guys getting a chance to listen to past shows. If you miss any part of this show, boom, you could go back and listen to it. So just had a great conversation with Gizelle Aguirre, who is a graduate of Carruthers High School. She was on my high school show last year after they won a state championship in basketball, now playing soccer for Fresno Pacific University. And we talked to Maddie Anderson as well. Now we have Kate Gonzalez and Celene Corona, and Coach Roberto Hernandez is here with us as well. So, we're going to be sharing the microphone. You guys did a fantastic job. The girls did a fantastic job sharing the microphone here at 790 ESPN. So, Coach, let's start with you really quick. Just kind of talk about when you first heard that these two young women were on the roster and kind of what they brought and what you foresee them for the future as well.
Yeah, so these actually are some of my first recruiting classes. Katelyn and Celene, along with Maddie and a couple others, were one of the first I was able to go out and recruit. And very grateful for them because it was a fast process. I gave them a call. I said, you need to get on campus. You need to come check us out. Actually, Kate came without even looking at campus. She trusted me. So me and Kate have a little bit of a history. So when I first started coaching club soccer back when I was 22, so 7 years ago, she was part of one of the first club teams that I was coaching in Bakersfield. So came a long way since then. I'll say I don't know what I was doing back then. Hopefully I know a little bit more now. So that kind of had that connection. Gave my buddy who's the head coach at Bakersfield College, Edgar, a call, and I said, hey, we're looking for a keeper. And he was like, I recommend Kate. So kudos to her because she's coming off of a knee injury. So she was out actually for a year. And we talked. We said, are you ready to get back into it? She was ready, and she came with 2 weeks right before season, did everything correctly, finished everything out, and then she stepped on campus. So it was really good to see.
And she's doing a good job in spring ball too, right?
Yeah, fantastic. So it's been a long process, I think, to be able to get back from where she was and where she is now. So each and every game, she's getting better and better, a lot more confident. This is something that we're excited about. Also, her distribution has been able to help us get out of high pressure situations. So it's been really good to see.
All right, what about Celene? What's how easy was it to get her to come to Fresno Pacific?
Yeah, so Celene, same thing. A friend of mine's coaching at Taft College where she was playing at. So gave Lyle a call, and I said, hey, we're looking for a couple studs. And he was like, there's one player that you have to look at. Mentioned Celene. So I gave her a call. She was actually going to go to another university in New York. Luckily, no paperwork was officially signed that we couldn't get out of. So I gave her a call. She came to Fresno. She fell in love with Fresno. How's Celene? Showed her around campus, and it was pretty cool to get to know her family. She came with them, and it's been a really good start to have her on the team as well.
That's awesome. All right, Kate, so I want to start with you. Like, did you ever envision playing soccer at Fresno Pacific? Was it even on your radar, and how did you arrive at the school?
So I thought my soccer career was actually over after I hurt my knee. I tore my ACL, and I was actually going to commit to another college prior to this, and I tore it, and I just thought I was completely done. And when my old coach from Bakersfield College called me and was like, hey, like, Roberto called me. Do you want to play again? Can you do it? Like, I think you can. Do you have faith? And I was like, I do. And I trust Roberto. Like, I know I can get back into it. So I did so. So it was a long process, and it's been a long journey. But I definitely feel like I've gotten back to where I need to be to play here, and honored to play here as well.
Was there some moments, though, whenever somebody has a knee injury like that, right? That's the bad one. You never want to hear those 3 letters, right? ACL. Was there ever some times you're like, I mean, you said you thought you might not ever make it back, on the field again. Were there some moments during the rehab you're like, nope, this isn't going to work? How were you able to push through that?
The athletic trainers at FPU are actually really amazing. Jimmy has rehabbed me very well and has taught me that it's all mental. You did the surgery and you're perfectly fine, and you need to go out there with confidence and know that you've healed correctly, and that if you're doing your PT, you should be fine. And true statement, because I stay consistent and I feel more confident than ever in my knee, at least with the rehab.
Has there been a play maybe even this spring that you're like, man, I even surprised myself with that, or with your agility?
Yes. Because of the way I tore it kicking a long ball. So going out to distributing from long balls definitely is hard for me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to tear it again? And with that being said, I just kind of have to get over that mentality and realize I can do it and I'm capable of doing it.
That's the mental part of the game
Yeah.
that they were talking about. All right, Celene, how about for you? Like, how did you find your way to Fresno Pacific College? Was it even on your radar? Was it when your coach said, hey, Roberto needs a player? Like, when did you first decide to go to Fresno Pacific?
So for me, deciding where to go was kind of a long process. I had got a few offers out of state, but I kind of like had a feeling that those kind of weren't meant for me. So when I got the offer from Roberto, I was like more than excited. And I knew once I came, I saw the program, I met him, and I trust Lyle, my coach at Taft. I trust him a lot. He did a lot for me, and I'm super grateful for him. So when I came here, I saw the campus. I met with Roberto, and he was so sweet. I met with Profe, and they convinced me I knew the program was great. And yeah.
Easy, right? Easy decision. Easy. I think Coach is pretty happy that you can go 3,000 miles away to New York playing here in Fresno. All right, so what are some cool, I asked the other girls, some like bonding experiences or cool moments. They talked about Hawaii, right? And how could you say bad things about Hawaii, right? I know you guys were a little grumpy because you had to get there at 2 a.m. Heard that story. But what are maybe there's another cool, maybe over food, or maybe you guys had, a players only meeting that was real special. Is there something that pops in your mind about your time?
Yeah, so Coach actually had us do a scavenger hunt at a mall, and we had to do different things. The one that really stood out was we had to take a picture with a random child at the mall. So everyone's walking around asking everybody, hey, can I take a picture with your baby? And me personally, someone came up trying to take a picture of my kid without me knowing you.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, right?
It's a little creepy. So he had us definitely in like an awkward situation, but it definitely was nice to see the interaction between the teammates and us, because it was right in the beginning of season, so we hardly knew each other. And we were out with each other trying to scavenger hunt and find these different challenges.
Did you win? Or did another group win?
Another group won.
Oh, gosh darn it. All right.
I think it was Karima's group that won. Yeah, we have one player that's very outgoing, and she definitely took the win.
She was not scared, right? She had the big personality, was able to go get after it. All right, Celene, what about for you? Is there a special moment this year?
For me, I want to say our first team dinner, because we all really didn't know each other, but it was a good time for us to sit down, eat, and conversate with each other and talk to the coaches. The coaches really went out of their way to like talk to us individually. And coming from someone that comes from like 3 hours away, like it was a hard jump for me to be so far away from my family, but they've made it much better.
Did you know anybody on the team when you arrived?
No, I didn't.
So that seems like that was a very special moment for you to get to know the girls. How about food? Right, you mentioned the team dinner. Like, you guys have a special food. What's your go-to for food?
Pasta. We have pasta a lot. A lot of pasta.
Yeah, you go someplace or somebody makes it for you?
Most of the time we have a place picked. Coaches usually pick a place, and we have pasta for before game days. I think we've only had Hawaii. We had a lot of different foods. Acai was probably our favorite at Hawaii, and I think our go-to food outside of soccer is Ono. Me and Celene go to Ono a lot. So.
What do you like about that? The rice is good. I know that. What else is good there?
What are they called? Oh, the mac salad.
Yes, that's
the
it. That's
salad.
it. It tastes a little bit different. It's not your traditional like mac and cheese, right? It's got this macaroni. All right, Celene, what about for you? Like, you got a special go-to place? Are you cool with, the food, the pasta, and all that stuff?
I mean, I enjoy pasta, but my go-to place has to be Ono.
Yeah. All right. How about in Bakersfield? You got a go-to spot there in Bakersfield?
Bakersfield doesn't really have much to offer on food places. We
Right.
I think you could. There's one place that has Mediterranean food that's really good.
All right.
Flamin' Skewers. That would probably be my go-to in Bakersfield. But other than that, we have like your basics. We always have a Cane's around the corner. So
there's always Cane's. That's
yeah.
a good fallback. All right. So some favorite classes at Fresno Pacific, right? That's one of the great things about the school. You mentioned how the community is really tight and close, small campus. You see everybody. Like, what are some favorite classes that you have at Fresno Pacific?
Right now, my favorite would probably be the biology department. So I'm a bio major, and I love my bio classes. My professors have been really amazing. Dr. Sela is probably one of my favorites. He does anatomy right now, and anatomy is a struggle, but Dr. Sela makes it definitely fun. So I love interacting with the professors there. It's a lot, coming from community college and my classes being a lot larger. Having the intimate classes with the class sizes being only about 20, I definitely love the interaction between the professors. The professors know my name, so it's real nice to have that one-on-one with them.
And do you call the professors by their first name, right? Some do.
Some do, yeah, some do. I like to give them their title, Dr. Sela,
There
Dr.
you go.
Sensing, so they earned that
They
title.
earned it, absolutely right. Celene, what about for you? You got some favorite classes, or do you have a major declared yet?
My favorite class right now is my accounting class. I just actually went into my accounting major. I was generalized. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my degree. But my Professor Sylvia, she has made accounting very easy for me. I've never been good with numbers, but she helped me figure out that I'm pretty good at it, and I also enjoy it.
That's awesome. All right, so we mentioned the community at Fresno Pacific. What are some other sports do you guys like to watch? Obviously, you're going to support the men's program, right? But are there, you guys go to basketball games, or have you checked out the new baseball stadium that they're going to dedicate next week, or volleyball? Are there some other cool sports you guys like to watch at Fresno Pacific?
I think the only ones we've stayed and watched, I've watched men's soccer, and I think I've watched women's basketball. But I do give props to that new baseball field out there. It's very nice, and a few of the baseball players are really sweet. And I just haven't had time to go out and watch them because of our training schedule. It's been a really hectic spring for me, but mainly women's basketball is the last match we watched.
All right, Coach, you got to give them a little bit of break here, right? They're talking about the spring schedule and all these workouts. So maybe next Wednesday we can open it up for the girls to go check out the dedication to that stadium. All right, we're going to bring some of the other girls. Got one more question for Celene before we turn it over to Pablo. And Pablo's got some questions from the student body. All right, Celene, I got one more question for you. If you didn't play soccer, what would be some other sports that you're really good at?
Honestly, I'm not that good at any other sport, but I do enjoy watching track. I'm not that fast, but maybe if I got into it when I was younger, I could be fast.
How about throwing? You see the shot put and the discus, maybe?
Yeah, that seems more fitting.
Okay, more fitting than the running bar. And what? I mean, we just did a rundown of all the great stuff that's happening at Fresno Pacific. I think the women's track and field program is ranked 4th in the state, and the men are 5th. So that is awesome. In the country. All right, cool stuff there. All right, I'm going to turn it over now to our guy Pablo. We do this at the end of every show, and we're all cramped in here, but we are making this absolutely work. This has been amazing. So Pablo's going to take over my microphone. He's going to ask the girls and Coach a few more questions here, and then we'll wrap everything up here on the Sunbird Sports Show.
Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate it. We're making it work here despite being so many people in one room. But always happy to be back. I'm going to start with Gizelle. This question, well, all the questions actually come from the men's soccer team for all of you. Gizelle, the question comes from Ernie Aguilera. He is asking, how was your transition from high school level to college and the NCAA? You already mentioned that the play is way faster, but what has been your other biggest takeaway from this experience?
Probably the technique. The girls in college, they have really good skills, and you got to play good defense. In high school, it was not as challenging, so just like learning to move your feet a lot.
Yeah, interesting. And I can see usually when freshmen come in, it's a whole development to adjust to a faster pace of play. But I mean, from what I've seen this spring, the level has been really good.
Yeah.
The next question is for Katelyn Gonzalez. The question comes from Captain Julian Aran. It's actually a lighter question. Who do you think on the team is most likely to get a red card in a game?
Nadia, easy. I think she already got one this fall. So
Yes, she
Nadia,
did.
definitely.
Yes, she did. That's a good answer. The next question is for Celene, and it comes from Lucas Rivero. Who is your favorite teammate? And share maybe a bonding experience with your favorite teammate.
My favorite teammate has to be Kate because we spend a lot of our time together and we're both from far, kind of. So, yeah, we have a lot of things in common, too.
That's awesome. And lastly, Maddie, the question comes from Ashton Escamilla. And the question is, after transferring, what would you say is the biggest difference in between the programs where you were at Delta and here at FPU?
Just learning the systems of play. It's always different wherever you go, and just learning the style of play, learning the coach, the team, the roots of the team. Learning everything about the teams is just kind of hard, but then you'll get it after a month, and it's a great transition.
And how do you feel you adjusted to the system?
I think I adjusted pretty well. As just like a holding mid, it's similar some places, and here at FPU it's pretty similar at my old school. So I've adjusted pretty well, I'd say.
That's great, and looking forward to your senior year.
Thank you.
And lastly, Coach, this question is actually on my end. I've been asking coaches this question. It's actually very, very nice to see the different perspectives. I want to ask you, what do you feel defines your team culture?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different things, but the biggest thing is the work ethic. I think it's something that we don't negotiate on. We have to be able to give 110%. We talk about it all the time. There's a lot of things you can't be perfect in, but the one thing you can be perfect in is the amount of effort you put in. And then ultimately, the school is based in the biblical principles, and that's something that I think changes our culture. We know that we're not just playing for, the here and now and the results, but, it's our ministry to be able to continue and help the mission of the school.
That's very important, and I feel like you can see when a coach insinuates that to their athletes to transcend the bigger message and purpose of the school, and I think that's great. Thanks, Coach. And Paul, I have up next for you for FPU. This upcoming week, actually only tennis teams will be at home playing this Friday against William Jessup. On this day, Senior Day will be celebrated, so make sure to be there. I will be celebrating my Senior Day as well, so maybe get some people out there. The men will play at 10 a.m. and the women at 2 p.m. On the road, women's water polo and baseball will both travel to CUI on Irvine to play over the weekend, and track and field has 2 meets. On the Bay Area, the Mike Fanelli Distance Carnival in San Francisco and Stanford Invite in Palo Alto. Also, a reminder, like Paul said at the beginning of the show, next week we will be live from the Dan Martin Stadium at 5 p.m. The event is open to the public, so please come join us in person. There will be special guests, giveaways, activities, and more. And with that, back to you, Paul.
I like how you did that, Pablo. Just kind of smooth rolling back there on the rolling chair and give me the microphone back. All right, I got another minute or so. Thank you, girls, for coming on. I didn't get to hear two of you guys, your favorite soccer players of all time. Who didn't get to give a shout out? Celene, go for it.
My favorite soccer player is Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'm more of a Messi fan. Sorry.
Do you? Okay, that's fine. I mean, Coach, whenever you give your opinion on your favorite soccer player, you always get a little bit of groan, a little bit of pushback. Remind everybody out there who you like.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to favorite soccer players, it's none of Messi and Ronaldo. They're two of the best in the world, but favorite soccer players are Guatemalan Carlos Ruiz, and known by the nickname Pescadito.
Have you guys heard of him before? Coach has never talked about him before?
Oh, he's definitely talked about him, but we're just like, oh, okay.
Move on to next. All right, so that is almost a wrap here on the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. Like Pablo mentioned, like I mentioned my opener, next Wednesday is going to be a fantastic time dedicating Dan Martin Stadium to Fresno Pacific University campus. We're going to do the show live from there. Tons of guests. You'll probably hear batting practice in the background, all that good stuff. Again, if you missed any part of the show, you could go back and listen to it as a podcast. I think it's going to be streamed on the 790 website as well. That'll be up here pretty soon. So thank you guys for listening. Really, really appreciate it. A great show, man. A lot of fun with these girls. Have a lot of fun talking to the wonderful student athletes at Fresno Pacific University. Thanks to Katelyn Gonzalez, Gizelle Aguirre, Celene Corona, Madisyn Anderson, and of course, Roberto Hernandez. That's another wrap of this week in Sunbird Sports Show. Have a great week, everybody, and go Birds.